Hello, this is your host, not a guru. In this video, we will attempt to convey the ancient wisdom as we explore breaking the false matrix. In the Hermetic wisdom contained in the Kybalion are the secrets of the mind of the All. According to the ancient wisdom found in the Kybalion, the principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. The false matrix is an insidious construct, a prison of the mind that keeps us trapped in a world of illusion. It is a matrix of thought, a web of beliefs and perceptions that have been carefully crafted to keep us disconnected from our true nature. The false matrix is a psychological prison, a blindfold that has been carefully crafted to control our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. It is a carefully constructed deception designed to keep us trapped within a narrow range of accepted ideas and experiences. The premise of the movie The Matrix is that humanity is unknowingly trapped inside a simulated reality, with our minds connected to a vast computer system that controls our entire existence. While this may seem like the stuff of science fiction, the underlying themes of the movie are actually a reflection of the human condition. The movie explores the idea that we may be conditioned by societal norms, media, academia, and other external forces to accept a certain version of reality without questioning it. Just like the characters in The Matrix, we may be unaware of the true nature of our existence, content to live within the confines of the matrix that has been constructed around us. The false matrix is not a computer program. It is a prison of the mind, a matrix of thought and perception that has been carefully crafted by humans for humans to keep us trapped in a false reality. But not everyone is ready to be set free. To quote Morpheus from the movie The Matrix, "The Matrix is a system. That system is our enemy." You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. In the hallowed halls of academia, the prevailing narrative that has been promoted for over 160 years is the notion that we are mere accidents of time and space, products of a random evolutionary process that elevated us from lower life forms. But is this truly the full picture? In Darwin's time, the irreducible complexity of a single cell was not known. The structure of DNA was not known until 1953. The lack of intermediate forms in the fossil record, noted by Darwin himself as problematic for his theory of evolution, still persist to this present day. It is interesting to note that the human genome is 98% similar to that of pigs, 97.5% similar to that of mice, 90% similar to that of cats, 80% similar to that of cows, and 60% similar to that of bananas. It is also highly promoted that we are a 98.8% match to chimps. However, that number drops to 85% when we consider the entire human genome. According to evolutionary theory, man is the descendant of a common ape ancestor that lived 10 million years ago. Unfortunately for the evolutionist, there is no evidence this creature ever existed. According to Lynn Isabel, professor of anthropology at the University of California, Davis, we don't have its remains, and I'm not sure if we'd be able to place it with certainty in the human lineage if we did. Many life forms share common genetic material. However, the determining factor in relationship is not commonality, but synteny, or the location and order of the genes in the DNA. The reproductive process in all living things demands synteny. The human X and Y chromosomes that determine gender at conception are less similar to that of apes and chimps than the entire human genome is similar to a banana. A major argument supposedly supporting human evolution from a common ancestor with chimpanzees is the chromosome 2 fusion model, in which ape chromosomes 2A and 2B purportedly fused end to end, forming human chromosome 2. This became popular when certain genetic material similar to that of apes and chimps was found within human chromosome 2. However, the assumption of such a fusion isn't supported by a detailed analysis of the so-called fusion site. For instance, all known fusions in extant or still living mammals involve satellite DNA. The satellite DNA sequence found abundantly in chimpanzees is completely absent in humans. Furthermore, no similarity in form exists for the fusion region to the respective ends of chimpanzee chromosomes 2A and 2B. And the end cap composition of ape and human chromosomes nullify the concept of a fusion event to produce human chromosome 2. Another problem with the fusion model is the extreme lack of genetic synteny, or the absence of similarity in the order and location of genes surrounding the purported fusion site. This contradicts the notion of a fusion event to produce human chromosome 2. Furthermore, the alleged human chromosome 2 fusion site encodes an active DNA binding domain inside a complex and highly expressed gene, negating fusion. Combinatorial genomic data clearly show that the alleged fusion site is a promoter in the DDX11L2 gene, and that the activity is neither nominal or spurious. In other words, one would not expect one specific gene to be promoted in a fusion site. The very fact that 18 copies of the DDX11L gene exists in humans versus only 2 copies in chimps and 4 in gorillas is completely discordant with the inferred human-ape evolutionary history. In the final analysis, the clear genetic evidence strongly refutes the claim that human chromosome 2 is the result of an ancestral telomeric end-to-end fusion. In the realm of alternative thought, the idea that our past was influenced and controlled by extraterrestrial alien races has gained significant traction. While I am aware of the existence of such beings, I have also come to the conclusion that this notion of dependence on alien races to explain the past is yet another layer of the false matrix that we've been presented with. Plato and other sources recall an ancient and advanced human civilization called Atlantis that disappeared near the end of the last ice age. According to my sources, the ancient pyramids located around the world were part of a naturally powered global energy network that powered and protected the planet using methods later explored by Nikola Tesla in the early 20th century. That network was evidently sabotaged during a conflict that preceded the destruction and fall of Atlantis. In the world of alternative thought, the Sumerian tales of the Anunnaki have been a topic of great fascination. However, the narrative surrounding these enigmatic beings is not as straightforward as some would have us believe. It's time to delve deeper and uncover the real truth. For years, the mainstream narrative insisted that the Sumerians were the earliest known civilization, located in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, that emerged between the 6th and 5th millennium BC. However, the more evidence that is uncovered reveals that the Sumerians were part of the survivors of a global cataclysm that built their society on the foundations of a previous civilization. The Anunnaki were a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. In the earliest Sumerian writings about them, the Anunnaki are the descendants of An and Ki, the god of the heavens and the goddess of earth. The Sumerian texts are inconsistent in their descriptions of the Anunnaki and do not always agree on how many Anunnaki there were or what their divine function was. The deities in the Sumerian pantheon were regarded as the patrons of a specific city and were also associated with specific celestial bodies. A new set of deities known as the Igigi were introduced during the Old Babylonian period. In the 18th century BC Akkadian Atrahasis epic, the Igigi are the 6th generation of the gods who are forced to perform labor for the Anunnaki. According to the Akkadian Atrahasis epic, after 40 days of labor, the Igigi rebel, and the god Enki, one of the Anunnaki, creates humans to replace them. In the Middle Babylonian period, about the 15th century BC, the name Anunnaki was applied generally to the deities of the underworld, while the name Igigi was applied to the heavenly deities. In regards to the creation of man, in the Akkadian Atrahasis epic, one of the gods, Wi-Ilu, volunteers to be sacrificed. The mother goddess Nintu adds his flesh, blood, and intelligence to clay and creates 7 male and 7 female human beings. The Sumerian Babylonian Eridu-Genesis and Enuma Elish contain somewhat similar details regarding man being created from clay or the blood of a god. In the poem of Era, dating from the 8th century BC, the Anunnaki are described as the brothers of the god Nergal and are depicted as antagonistic towards humanity. In the mythologies of the Hurrians and Hittites, about the 16th century BC, the Anunnaki were believed to have been banished by the younger gods to the underworld. As is evident in the surviving text, there is no single consistent narrative regarding the role and identity of the Anunnaki, nor can all the lore surrounding them be attributed to a single period or source. In the alternate view, the Anunnaki were a group of human survivors who escaped the cataclysm that destroyed the earlier civilizations of Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu. They preserved some of this prior civilization's physical technology and historical records. They hid for a time, fearing retribution for their role in the conflict that preceded the cataclysm that resulted in a global flood at the end of the Ice Age. The flood stories involving characters like Noah and others describe the flooding and destruction that occurred at the end of the Ice Age. However, the story was reworked to imply that the benevolent gods had tried to save humans, when in fact these were originally accounts of how the gods saved themselves. But the reworking of these stories and rewording of these stories aided the Anunnaki in winning the trust and compliance of the shell-shocked survivors of the flood and their progeny. After coming out of hiding, the Anunnaki humans began interacting with small groups of descendants of the traumatized survivors of the cataclysm. With the aid of their saved technology and knowledge, they began posing as gods and psychologically manipulating these groups in order to establish a base of power and influence among them. The Anunnaki created a system of rewards and punishments for their followers, while alternately aiding them and enslaving them. They created their own history and mythology that was passed on in order to keep their followers in tow. While helping to reestablish human civilization and order, the Anunnaki did so with the goal of building their own dynasty. By the time the Sumerians appeared, the original Anunnaki had died off, but their influence lived on for centuries. By approaching this topic with a discerning and analytical mindset, we can uncover the layers of evidence that have been obscured and open our eyes to the truth that lies beyond the veil of deception. The history we've been taught is not the whole story. It's a part of the false matrix that contains a carefully crafted narrative designed to keep us under the control of the powers that be. It would be naive to think that the history handed down to us by the ancients could not or would not contain a healthy dose of propaganda that served the interests of those who controlled them. Forbidden Archaeology, written by Michael Cremo and Richard Thompson, presents both accepted and anomalous scientific evidence defying traditional ideas concerning human evolution. The work contains volumes of documented evidence that over the past 2 centuries, researchers have found bones and artifacts showing that people like ourselves existed on Earth millions of years ago. But the scientific establishment has ignored this evidence because it contradicts the dominant views of human origins and antiquity. Hidden within our religious texts are indications that time is cyclical and not linear. In Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 and 10 from the Bible, we find this verse. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already, long ago. It was here before our time. In Psalm 82, verse 6, we find it written that, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. We make no appeal to the veracity of any religion or theory of science. Our only appeal is to the mind of the All. Who are the gods? The gods are intelligent, conscious, creative, and sentient beings of free will. They choose to incarnate for the purpose of mastering the lower frequencies of the material world in order to transmute those energies into higher forms. By doing so, they create a karmic imprint that allows them to experience more of the infinite wonders of the All. The goal of the gods is to bring heaven to earth. This can be made manifest and accomplished by mastering the 12 karmic laws and the 7 hermetic principles. The ascended masters have achieved the highest rank among the gods. The spirit guides are under their tutelage. Connecting with the higher self opens the doors to all wisdom. The reason human beings are the dominant species on this planet is that this has been our planet for millions of years. You are no mere mortal, tossed about by the whims of capricious gods or the meddling of alien forces. No, you are so much more. You are the creation of Source Consciousness itself, endowed with the precious gift of free will. The key to regaining your personal power lies in disassociating from that which is external to your core being. When you let go of your attachment to the temporal, the fleeting, ever-changing circumstances and conditions around you, you open yourself up to the eternal, the essence of who you truly are. This shift in perspective is transformative, as it allows you to no longer be at the mercy of the external world and the mental prison of the false matrix. It is time to shed the shackles of the false matrix and the belief systems that have kept you small and disempowered. The truth is, Earth has always belonged to us humans, and we are the gods of this reality and the masters of our own destiny. By plugging into the eternal within, you tap into a wellspring of inner strength, wisdom, and resilience. This connection to your true self empowers you to navigate life's challenges with a renewed sense of clarity, confidence, and control. No longer will you be tossed about by the whims of the outside world. Instead, you'll find that you have the ability to remain centered, focused, and in command of your own destiny. The external may continue to fluctuate, but your inner core will be your unwavering guide. And what of those ascended masters, the enlightened beings who have come before us? They are not separate from us, but rather part of our extended family. They have traveled here before and have mastered the 12 karmic laws and the 7 hermetic principles. Regardless of our religious or spiritual beliefs, They stand ready to guide and support us on our journey of self-discovery and empowerment. You see, you are not beholden to any external forces. You are the architect of your own life, the sculptor of your own reality. It is time to reclaim that power and to step into the fullness of who you truly are. Reclaiming your personal power is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning and external influences that have kept you from fully embodying your authentic self. When you disassociate from the temporal and align with the eternal within, you'll unlock a profound sense of freedom, purpose, and control over your life. The world may try to pull you in 1,000 different directions, but your true north will always be the inextinguishable light that burns within you. Your higher self is eternal, immovable, and unchanging. It is not an object of any form. There is no boundary beyond which it does not exist. It cannot become sick, depressed, or needy. It is not waiting for anything. It is not limited in any way. It cannot die or end. The more you nurture this connection with your higher self, the more you'll find your life unfolding with a sense of ease, purpose, and infinite potential. Embrace this liberating truth and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. The future is ours to create together. Let us rise up, break free from the false matrix, and begin to shape our destiny as the gods we were always meant to be.